Welcome to another video on data to decisions. In today's video, we'll be building a stacked bar chart, but with the total. In the previous video, we built a simple basic stacked bar chart. But in this case, we're going to take to the next level by adding a total for each of the bars. So for example, here, in this data, in this chart, we have each of these horizontal bars represent a department, and within each department we have how many employees are with each ethnicity. But then I also want to see the total. So there are 76 employees in the revenue assurance department. There are 113 employees in human resources. So I want to show the total number of employees within each of the departments. How do I go about doing that? That's what we're going to do in this video. Unfortunately, it's not out of the box setting that is available within Microsoft Excel, but we can do that pretty quickly within a few minutes in Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to be building this completely from scratch. And if you haven't watched the previous video, please do watch. There is a lot more formatting tips we cover in the previous video on uh, building a stacked bar chart in Microsoft Excel. Now, let's start from a blank slate. This is our input data. We have by department. For each ethnicity, we have the number of employees. So I'm going to select all my input data. I'm going to go to insert. I will go and say 2D bar stacked bar chart. What it does is it creates a slightly different chart here because it takes each ethnicity and then breaks it down by the department, which is not the view I was trying to build here. And so I'm going to click on switch row and column. So now it basically takes each department, how many employees are with each ethnicity. So each ethnicity becomes a different um, series, which means a different color that you can apply and control. Again, it depends on what you're trying to build and how your data table is structured. In my case, I just want to illustrate that you can easily switch the two different views by clicking on the chart, going to chart design, switch row and column. Okay, so now that I've explained that part, I'm just going to quickly go ahead and give a title. And then you can format the title however you like, give a different color, different font, and then you can even move the position of the title, no problem. And then I can make it a little bit smaller. There we go. So now I'm going to move the legend. So I can do format legend, and then I can make it go to the top, and that's fine. And then I can right click on one of these grid lines and then do solid, change the color a little bit less prominent. So I have this, I can click on the chart and then I can go to a border, solid border. I want to do it a little bit darker. There we go. So now we're getting closer to the chart appearance we want. But again, the focus of this video is not about just the basic formatting, which we covered in the previous video, but how do I get the total up here? So I'm going to first make the data labels come up, right? So once you have the data labels, sorry about that. So once I have the data labels up here, you can click on each of the series. Again, remember each series is a different ethnicity. So I can click on that and then change the font color, which makes it easier to read. Again, the red one, let's say, for example, I want to make it white. So they become a little bit easier to read for us. Okay, so that's all about just appearance of these chart data labels. So how do I get the total to appear? That's the piece. Now, first thing is we need a total. So I've done a simple formula here to sum up all the different ethnicities. And I have just created this now new set of values. So I can put it on the chart, but how will that look, right? So I can go to right click, select data, and this is where all the different series are available, right? So I can go over here. So you can see, for example, the first one on my list is Hispanic. So you see Hispanic is the first one. American Indian is the second, which is in yellow. Asian third in green. And then at the end, it's the white, which is in gray. So the order in which this is stacked, one on top of the other, horizontally, is the same order that we have asked Excel to do. So let's try this, right? So let's say, for example, I move American Indian to the position Then what happens is American Indian moved here and Hispanic is the second in the list. And same thing, you can see that the colors here, yellow color becomes the bottom of the bar and then the red. So it gets, they get stacked one after another based on the order of the series. Now, I want a total series, right? So I can go and say add, give it a name. So I'm just going to give total. And then I can say, okay, these are my total values. What will happen? I can give the department names. That's not a problem. Okay. So now what happened is when the total gets stacked on top of all these individual series, that's not what we want. So this is where we need to introduce another invisible spacer series. Okay. So what I'm going to do is to go back and right click select data. In the total series, I'm going to go to total. Don't use the actual total values, use zero. I just want to use zero. I'll show you how it works. So I'm going to just choose a set of zeros and press OK. And now you may ask me, it's just a total, just zero. What purpose does it have? Again, there's no formula here, just entering zero. And then we have put that on to the chart. Now, the first thing I want to do is I don't want this necessarily the total to appear here as a separate item on the legend. So I'm just going to click on the total, remove it. So it's not on the legend. Then what I want to do is click on this zero, right? Because this is the new series that you've created, and go into the label options and say, I don't want to display the value zero. Instead, I want to display the value from this set of cells. So now I've chosen the total that we calculated and press OK. And now what happens is the total appears. But the positioning of the total becomes the next problem, like it's overlapping with the previous one. So in this case, my recommendation would be if you hit the label position as inside base, it automatically moves the positioning of the label and it moves further to the right. Now I can format it differently. I can maybe make it bolder. I can change the font color if I want to make them stand out. Let's say do a purple. Did I do a purple? Thought I did. Let me do it again. Purple. There we go. So now the total will also continue to update. So let's give it a try. I'm going to just change some random numbers here. So let's watch revenue assurance, right? So revenue assurance total is 76. So I'm just going to make native of y and n to 20. And now what happens is this becomes 20 and the total becomes 86. So that also moved automatically. So now it is dynamic. Whenever your data changes, your chart also will update. So this is how you can create a simple stack bar chart with a total. So just to recap, how from a basic stack bar chart, how do you get the total? You want to make sure you create a total calculation, which is nothing but the sum of all the individual series, and put them here. And then you will have a set of zeros. Think but just enter zero and then drag along. That's it. You have series. Then you will go into the chart, select data, make sure you create a new total series. The total series will be having the zero values. And make sure you do it at the end. So this is extremely important because if you remember that we went to the bottom after the last series, we added the total series. So the order here becomes extremely important. Once you do the total at the bottom, then you click on the label and then make sure that you don't use the default value, but come in and choose the value from the total that you calculated. That's it. This is the extremely important part. And once that is done, the final piece is the label positioning choose inside base. This will allow you to create a chart like this. Hope this is helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions, please post them in the comments section. I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll continue with the 100% stacked bar chart in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.